Good afternoon or good morning. My name is Glynn Judd. I've been convicted of causing criminal damage on trains. I was sentenced to 16 months imprisonment in one of the country's toughest jails. Wormwood Scrubs is a Category B prison that houses murderers, rapists and paedophiles. I served 4 months detention and the remainder of my sentence on an electronic tag. I'm here today to give you an insight into my world and what drove me to paint my name on trains. I'm a graffiti vandal and I write noir. Spraying graffiti on trains is simply applying paint to a surface. There is no violence, no real physical damage and no long-term harm caused. For 12 years I sprayed my name on trains, not only in England, but in Europe and around the world. I had passion, drive and a strong work ethic to get my name known everywhere. I showed cunning, tenacity and great courage and risking my life night after night to get my message across. For my artwork, I am classed as a vandal, a criminal that causes damage and should be liable to prosecution. Why is it my art form classed as a criminal act when the same art form applied in galleries or corporate advertising should be deemed acceptable and often celebrated? This is sending out mixed messages to kids who see graffiti and choose to grow interest in it. This leads on to my next point. Is the general public offended by graffiti? Do they hate reading silly messages left in public toilets or seeing jokes being left on a dirty car window? Are they offended by scribbles left on a copy of the Metro that's been left by a last passenger on the train? Are they offended by the street art that adorns many walls around Shoreditch, Camden or Portobello Road markets? These simple forms of graffiti are no more harmful or offensive than a name written on the side of a train. The passenger does not own the train. They probably don't have a vested interest in the train company at all. So why would they feel harmed or threatened? The application of paint does not damage the train in any way. The majority of trains have a protective vinyl film over the surface which makes it easier to clean from everyday dirt. So I asked the audience who's actually being harmed by graffiti on trains. British Transport Police, along with their vandal squad, went to great lengths to capture me over the years. Finally, in March 2011, I was arrested. The investigation, I was led to believe, cost over £1 million. They had finally got their man. The man-hours, evidence collection and covert operations were expensive. If you break down the costs and quantify the size of their operation, surely this can't be sustainable for all graffiti vandals on their wanted list. With government cutbacks and budget reforms, I'm positive that the police can spend their time and resources on more serious crimes. This will benefit our country greater than trying to clear up graffiti on trains. Train companies have the latest security to protect their stocks and often pull the trains out of service when graffiti has been applied to them. All train companies have substitute trains that can replace the ones that are taken out of service. So why is it important for the police to tackle graffiti on trains? My time in jail was tough. After the shock of being sent down, away from my family and friends, the reality kicked in. Wormwood Scrubs is no place for anyone convicted of criminal damage. I witnessed violence, abuse, and many more unmentionable acts that will live with me forever. I was placed in a cell with a man who was on trial for killing his girlfriend and her parents. I had to endure his gory stories daily until I was moved to another cell. It didn't get any better, I can assure you. Each prisoner I shared a cell with was just as bad as the last. Each one was a repeat offender and relished the fact that they were doing another stint in jail. As I lay awake most nights, frightened to go to sleep, all I kept saying to myself was this: was the crime I committed as bad as any of those that surrounded me? Did being in jail benefit me in any way? The age-old saying goes like this: the punishment fits the crime. But how can sending someone to jail that sprayed their name on a train be the same as the hardened criminals that surrounded me? The investigation, trial and incarceration were a greater burden to the taxpayer. Did they benefit from me being in jail? Did the police benefit from diverting their valuable resources to prosecute me? I'll leave you with this thought. In Worm and Scrubs, many offenders had been convicted of rape, fraud, burglary and domestic violence, served less of their sentence than I did. To this day, I am shocked that crimes like these are deemed less serious than criminal damage. By sending people who commit criminal damage on trains to jail is not justified. Fundamentally, the government is telling us that property is more valued than people. How can this be? Thank you.